Hey! I don't have the energy to do this today.
I don't either.
Welcome, everybody, to the final, the ultimate, the concluding chapter of BioNICLE Island of Lost Mask. And joining us today on Book Club, let's just go straight into this. You know what? Let's go.
Let's do this.
Let's go.
What's up, everybody? I'm Var.
I'm LJ.
I'm Kahi.
I'm Viper.
And this is BioTalk Book Club. Boom! That's like the fastest intro ever.
Zero to intro was pretty
Zero
fast that
intro.
time.
Headshot.
Zero to intro.
It's funny because last week's episode had like the longest intro of the series.
Yeah, Viper,
But it
Kahi,
was-
you guys
No,
recording
okay.
right now?
Hey, hold up.
No,
I'm
don't
gonna-
spoil the magic, Kahi. Just
I don't-
let the video have it.
Okay, I can't be blamed for that. It wasn't my fault. That's all I'm gonna say. You make it look like it's me and Viper's fault. It's not my fault. It's Viper's.
I thought you were going to save me, but no,
No,
you decided
no,
to throw me under the
I'm-
bus.
It was
I
your
am
fault,
like-
just in a different way.
I'm pushing you under the thing.
It was my fault,
It was
but
my
I
fault
didn't
in the
realise
sense-
that it was going to happen, so I was died because I knew that I was going to get in trouble. I
Guys,
was like,
our fast intro is done. You
yeah,
ruined it.
this isn't TTV. Come on, let's
Hey,
move on.
blame LJ.
Yeah,
you
we
brought
can
it up.
complain on TTV Talk.
All right, let's go. All right.
But so starting off for the concluding chapter of Island of Lost Mask, we have Chapter 6, Return of the Mask Maker. We basically go. This is a really short chapter, actually. We go straight into where we left off, where the Toa are kind of like they're approaching Akimu's like building thing,
Yeah,
the mask
like-
making.
I don't know, what's it called? Tomb.
Yeah, the tomb, and they still hear voices from Akimu, or they start hearing voices from Akimu, saying like, "You're close." So they're like, "Okay, let's not break anything." As they enter, which
Well, they didn't have that
probably a good thing
mentality
to not do.
beforehand. Let's not break anything. Breaks
I'm not sure if
massive
it's the-
statue.
It's not like Anua intended to break everything. Oh well, no,
I
you're
meant
right.
Liwa.
But, like, yeah, Liwa did intend to break that. Whatever.
Scumbag Liwa.
Break the rules.
Scumbag Liwa.
Yeah. So as they enter inside, Akimu decides to reread the prophecy for whatever reason. When times are dark and all hope seems lost, evoke the power of past and future.
That's really good. Have you ever considered getting a future as a voice actor?
Ah, I haven't. Thank you, though.
No. Okay. Wow. You should think about it.
Well, I mean, I've heard that line like a million times now. So
Yeah, I've heard it's really tough and the low hours and low pay and nobody respects you and you're terrible. So
yeah.
Ouch.
So I've
Also,
heard-
it's really hard industry to get in if you were wearing like a big miru or something.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, I
almost
mean-
impossible.
I wish
Nobody
you could see my
respects you.
face
I don't
right
know
now. I'm
anyone as
seething behind this
dumb.
mask.
Like people already don't respect you because you're a voice actor, and then they respect you even less because you're a nerd.
I mean,
And they respect you even less when they find out you're LJ.
I'm gonna
I mean,
shove
I-
this book up your nose.
I don't.
Whoa.
Whoa! Is that how you treat your employer? No
I
wonder you're
mean-
not getting a job.
I don't know anyone as dumb as to wear a miru. I mean,
Oh
who would
snap!
be that
Oh.
dumb?
I don't remember us
Dang.
reading the book on how to
I like
diss
how blunt
LJ.
that
We're
one
reading
is. I like who would
Island
be
of
so
Lost
dumb.
Mask.
Anyway, so Akimu reads out that line. The heroes get over to the sarcophagus lid and they open it up and they're like, "Oh, now what?" And I guess they remember that united the elements hold the power, and
And did magical
I don't know
CPR.
what that told them, or like how that gave them enough information to actually wake Akimu up. But they basically just like they wake him up, sparks fly out of their hands or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
hold
did
hands.
magical CPR.
Yeah, it's not really
Magic
explained.
CPR.
They kind of just like, oh yeah, we need elements, but they don't really like it. I mean, do we just shoot them with
we
beams
just
of
touch
fire or
him?
something? But regardless, they wake Akimu up, and there's like a little comedy scene here where like Akimu's like, "Brave Toa, you are late,"
8.
and
Sorry, Dad.
I know, right? Which I mean, I like that scene. I thought that was really good in
I
the
did think it was
animations
good.
as well. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
chapter just like the past two chapters, basically word for word, just a reprint of the animations. So
Yeah, pretty much.
that's how it goes with this book. Anyway, I guess they weren't really expecting that because they were a little surprised. And Akimu like scolds him a little bit and was like, "Yeah, the power comes in numbers,
He's one of
unity,
those grumpy
duty.
guys who wakes up
We
in the
must
morning."
hurry." So I guess it turns out though that they are informed of Skull Grinder, and Skull Grinder's purpose here is to destroy the Mask of Creation using the furnace in Akimu's workshop.
Yeah.
So after waking up Akimu, they decide that they need to go retrieve the mask before it's destroyed. I find this a little strange.
How so?
How so?
It's I don't really understand the purpose of destroying the Mask of Creation. That
Yeah.
seems sort of
Okay.
counterproductive for like Makuta, the mask hoarder, to destroy a very
Why don't you
powerful
just
mask.
like corrupt it? Like,
Yeah, it seems like
everything else?
it would behoove him to actually like just take the mask and just keep it for his own.
maybe he's just
use.
really emotional and he just wants to smash it to pieces.
Yes, he hasn't had a nice tub of ice cream, so he wants to break masks.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
could
if he
the
had the mask
mask
of creation, he can conjure as much ice cream as he wants. So
could the mask of creation create the mask of ultimate power without it being evil? Could that be a thing?
they could also.
Could the Mask of Creation create the Mask of Ultimate Power?
Yes.
I mean-
but not have it like completely, turned on.
I mean, it's weird because we're not really sure like how the mask works per se, like what it actually creates and how it creates it. Because, like, I mean, that brings up an interesting point. Like, why is Akimu using a forge to build mask when he's got the Mask of Creation? He could just make a mask, right? You'd think,
Yeah, kind of.
yeah, I don't know what the power is for the mask of creation.
right? Like, what is it actually creating?
I do
we
know
haven't
that,
actually
like-
seen the Mask of Creation in use yet.
Back in the original canon, if you destroyed, for instance, a mask of time, it would shut down all time inside the Madanui robot. If you presumably destroyed the mask of life, all life would die in the Madanui robot. So, if you destroyed the mask of creation in Gen 1, what happens?
Everyone becomes boring and moronic and doesn't come up with any ideas.
Actually, yeah.
So TTV,
That's
huh?
exactly it. No one can create anymore.
No
No
one-
one can create it all.
Yep.
Really? That
Are you
doesn't
sure?
sound
Was that
feasible.
confirmed?
Let me
That's-
double check
I mean,
that,
that
but I
sounds
believe that
interesting.
is the case.
That's an interesting thing that could happen.
Why would their creativity be controlled by a singular mask that has nothing to do with them, though?
Well, I mean, you could say that for time or life. But, hey, honestly,
I mean-
though, that's the least, imagine
But
this.
creation is just like, I don't know, I guess time and life, but it's
I
just-
know,
Time
I know what you're
makes
saying.
sense because it's like
Time and life is like way more important than creation.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Man, either all time is destroyed, or all of you die, or you might not be able to make anything anymore.
You're not really that good at art.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can only do
basically
60
like,
degrees.
it's basically like you'd be stuck in one era of time, like you'd be a caveman forever. That's like not as bad as
Or-
time stopping or
Or, alright, just hear this out. What if, I'm throwing this out there, it's a weird theory. What if it destroyed their personalities? So they would just go back to being mindless servants.
They
like
already
before.
are just mindless servants with no personality.
Well, I'm talking about like the original robot state, though, when they were just robots and they're just supposed to be like cells.
I mean,
and
we've
they
already
gain-
established in the podcast before that they've got no free will and that their duty is just
Exactly.
what.
Also, confirmation. Yes. If the mask is destroyed in the Matorn universe, they lose all creativity.
That's
What does that
stupid.
mean?
that is
What does
kind
that
of
mean?
stupid,
Specifically,
but it's
to
a kid's
quote-
book, so
To quote, the Mask of Creation is one of the 3 most powerful Kanohi in existence. As such, if the Mask of Creation is destroyed while inside the Matorn universe, the beings within would lose the ability to create new things.
well, that
Can you
sucks.
tell me what the powers of the mass creation are in the original?
Nope.
Original.
Would they be able to create something with instructions?
I don't know.
Like, could they keep like producing things that were already like invented, like a Coley stick?
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, is it
Like, what defines creation?
what vary? How much does it vary? Like,
Right.
do people just not like speak like differently to each other after that?
Like, if an
Right.
Agori came into the Madanui universe and was not affected by this, and then developed something, could they build off what he developed?
Mm-mm.
'Cause
Listen,
they're not
none of this even
creating it.
matters because we're talking about G2 here.
That's
yeah,
true.
like G2.
Stop with your
Even then,
G1
it's like-
references.
I'm just saying that, like,
even then, it's just
Mark's
like
right. Destroying the mass creation really does nothing.
it doesn't
as
make
far as we
sense.
know.
It doesn't- why would Makuta destroy it? It doesn't make any
well,
sense.
I get the
Is he trying to
feeling it's
destroy their
like
creativity?
They're gonna take the mask and put it in the forge, and it's gonna melt, and then they're gonna make the mask of ultimate power.
Oh, wait, no. Okay, now, I don't know about
That
making the Mask of
makes
Ultimate
more
Power.
sense.
However, you do bring up an interesting point. They could melt it down and use the metal because
Yeah,
I
see, that
remember
makes more
on
sense.
when BioNICLE was first like officially launched on Facebook, there was that quote that stated that the mask of creation was made like forged out of like magical gold.
Yeah, it was pure
Yeah.
gold and magic.
Yeah, pure gold and magic. So maybe what he's trying to do is destroy the mask of creation to like
Create a new mask.
harness
Create a new one.
the
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
the
on board
material.
again, Viper. Nice. Go on.
yeah, that was okay. Nice job, Viper. That makes sense.
Is that why you're a writer? That's probably why you're a writer.
Not recently, but yeah.
All right, so so that makes sense. So maybe like if we follow that train of logic, then maybe magic, or yeah, I guess magic isn't
Magic and
Granted.
gold.
it's kind of a rare commodity to
So
come
like,
by.
yeah,
Maybe-
magic can be like, it's like energy and matter. It can be,
Yeah,
it can't be created or destroyed, but like passed on or something. I don't
To
know.
that,
right.
to
It
that
could be
end,
reused,
though,
maybe.
we do have to mention that is never brought up in this book. And we're doing that
It's
thing
not.
again where we have to mention something and think of something to explain something in it.
Right. No, yeah. If we just look at this at face value, there is absolutely it doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for Skullgrinder to want to destroy the mask.
Yeah.
It also like even then the powers of the mask itself, like I mentioned earlier, it's still it's left open. Like there is no explanation of what the mask actually does or what it does for you. Because if we continue on with this chapter, well, I'll get there in a bit.
Right,
actually.
just keep going. I know what you're saying.
Well,
Just keep going.
I'll skip a little bit.
Yeah.
But so anyway, they're like, okay, we need to go find Skullgrinder before he melts the mask. They can like see him with the mask outside the furnace, so they're gonna rush inside. And the Toa being stupid and being the Toa, they're like, well, let's just run at it because we're cool, I guess, and we've got powers. Yay! Let me cool things down, Kopaka says, or in Tahu, and it's like, it's fire is my element. These stupid little childish one-liners they throw out. Anyway, so Tahu and Kopaka like rush inside, only to get like annihilated by Skull Basher as he like explodes from the door. This is an interesting fight scene, and by interesting, I mean it's not really interesting at all. In fact, it is a couple of paragraphs long. I would say this is probably the shortest fight scene in the book. Skull Basher's there, grabs Anua's mask, and then everybody just kind of teams up and takes him out.
Yeah.
So,
My favorite is Akimu's line here.
oh yeah,
Have you learned nothing? No.
no,
They haven't.
They have
really
not.
haven't.
They
not.
didn't. They haven't. I mean, to be fair, it took them less time to realize that they need to use Unity to stop them, but maybe that was only because Akimu was there yelling at them.
He's like,
Like, come on, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah, they group up and they're like, fine, Dad, okay.
So yeah, I mean, they take out Skull Basher. It was a really short fight. Not really much happens. Akimu yells at them. So then they take out Skull Basher, continue inside, and they see Skull Grinder. And I guess they're like, you won't break our mask. That's our mask, dude. We need that. And Skull Grinder's all like, nah, brah, this is my mask. And Akimu's like, nah, dude, we're gonna stop you before you're able to destroy it, yo. And Grinder's like, oh yeah, well, fine then. And then he puts on the mask. And then Akimu's like, oh snap, man, I didn't think of that one.
they put the mask
You got me
to
there.
wear on your face. On your face? Man, I should have thought
Dang.
this through.
I didn't think about all the outcomes. Anyway, so as I was saying before about how the powers of the Mask of Creation aren't explicitly stated, for whatever reason, putting on the Mask of Creation is this big deal.
Right.
When Skull Grinder puts it on, Akimu's like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? But why? Why is that a bad thing? From what we can assume, the Mask of Creation doesn't do anything but make things.
Well, he draws energy from the forge, but I don't know why it's a power set that the Restoration has, but hey.
Yeah, why is that a thing?
No idea. No.
What does it do? Apparently it makes him stronger. Like he's able to just like wipe the Toa down,
Right.
and just take them all out
just
Right, right.
one by
hulks out.
one. Yeah, he kind of hulks out. But like what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Mask of Creation do that?
Well, you see, Var, it's connected to the forge. And they're in the forge, and it gives him power.
Is it though?
Seriously, though, it does do something to the forge, because when he puts it on, apparently the forge got brighter, so somehow the two are connected.
Right.
Well,
It
that
continues
makes
talking
sense
about
because you would
Donkey
use the
Kong
forge to
before.
create things.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe
Of course.
the hold up, cut. We're cutting.
We're cutting.
Yeah. Did you see Slack?
Sorry.
Viper's computer crashed, so we're gonna pause.
And we're back. So, per usual book club, we had some technical difficulties.
Why not? You know, it's the last chapter. We have to.
We have to
Right?
have an apocalyptic.
The funniest part is that most of our technical difficulties never made it to public eye, so they have no clue.
Right. They'll
what's
just
actually
they'll just
happened.
know.
We got 2 instances of technical difficulties to them.
I need a beer.
Hey.
He does not condone
United
underage drinking.
States, you don't.
Well, I mean,
Except, I think it's legal where
I
you
think
are.
it's
So
legal where Viper is, so it's not underage.
but
No,
we're an American
screw it,
group,
not
so
beer. I
you're
need
not allowed.
I need a bottle of vodka. Just
Oh.
all right. Let's.
Well, you know who also needs a bottle of vodka?
everyone here.
Everybody that fights against Skull Grinder, which we're about to get into.
Yeah, that's what we were talking when
Amazing.
we cut out. So, I brought up the point, Viper, since you missed it. I brought up the fact that it doesn't make any sense for the mask to the mask is the Mask of Creation's powers aren't really explained
Yeah.
very well, and it's like suddenly Skull Grinder gets really, really strong, I guess, when he puts it on, and Akimu was like, "Oh no, that's not a good thing." Like, but why?
Yeah. Why did it even make
It
him
doesn't make
strong?
any sense. It's a Mask of Creation, not a
Why?
Mask of Strength.
Why would
Didn't
it make
he
him
cr-
physically strong?
Why did
Yeah.
he create something? That's what it's getting me. Why did he create something?
Right, I mean
And
that's what I was
what
thinking
took down
too.
the Toa.
That's what I figured he would do. Like
Maybe
he'd make
he-
like a bigger weapon or something.
Maybe
Right.
he made like a extra muscle. Like,
Maybe he just has one axe, and then like he used the mass creation, and he creates 3 axes and puts them in the one, and then he's like, yeah.
maybe he
Yeah,
made
but he-
steroids so he could ingest them.
Yes, he made Bionicles. Man, we are getting so much into drugs and alcohol this time.
Increase our
This is
rating.
the only way to get through YouTube life. A very stressful job it is.
Wow.
No, but yeah, I don't know. It's silly. It doesn't make any sense. But I guess it's Bionicle. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh well. So anyway, the Toa start attacking Skull Grinder, and Akimu's like, "Oh crap! He's got the mask on. I gotta go make stuff." So the funny thing is, during this fight, the one guy who isn't wearing the Mask of Creation is the one who's building things,
Right.
creating things. Like, I mean, whatever. But as he does that, the Toa try to distract Grinder by like attacking him, and it doesn't work. If you've seen the animations, Grinder just wrecks
They
them.
Yeah.
just get so
Owned.
ham and cheese.
They get-
It's a little bit worse in the book
Devastated.
because not only did they all get taken down at once, but Grinder kind of continues to just keep like smacking them back and forth.
Because that's a
But,
smart thing to do. Instead of
Right,
just leaving them there, assuming that they're not okay.
something the Toa haven't quite learned, huh?
So many villains have died because they've just had their back turned for too long.
I imagine so many villains have lived because the Toa never checked on them or double tapped.
Double tap.
Is he dead? if you
Double
think
tap
someone's
on him.
unconscious, tap their shoulder. It like turns into like one of those medical things where it's like tap the shoulder, make sure they're
Tap the shoulder.
Yeah, double
Yeah.
tap the shoulder. That yeah.
Sid John's ambulance.
St. John's ambulance.
To be fair, I'm using the Zombieland term.
I feel like that's a great reference that about maybe 5 people in our audience are gonna
Yeah,
get.
5 people
5
know
people
what I'm
in our
talking
audience
about.
are laughing and they're dying right now.
The Toa should have double tapped.
Yeah, and everyone-
St. John's
huh?
ambulance.
What?
I'm from England.
No,
Like,
only me.
like an iPad.
There'll only be one fan laughing at that, and that'll be me.
Good job.
All right.
All right, my friend.
You're having a good day today.
Oh yeah, such a good day.
Yeah, heck yeah.
But I think this is actually kind of a cool section. I feel like it's a little bit better in the book because I don't know, it kind of has that like hopelessness sort of feel to it. It's a bit on the lighter side of that, but you still kind of feel it's like, wow, the Toa are just not winning this fight at all. No matter how hard they try, no matter how much they're working together, they cannot beat Grinder, and they're just, despite getting their butts kicked, they're still fighting, which it's kind of inspiring. It's kind of a cool
nice
bit.
moral at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it feels too small of a scale to really like matter or hit home that helplessness kind of feel, but I still like the section or what it's trying to do. But Tahu is the last one standing when Akimu finally is able to create his hammer, superpower hammer of awesomeness. And as Skull Grinder knocks Tahu down and he's about to finish him off, Akimu's like, I'm going to use you as a stepping stool, and jumps on Tahu's back, and then jumps off and leaps at Grinder, and then Tahu passes out. Oh, wait, no. Someone is popping in the background. Someone's turning off the phone.
I'm turning off my phone, but
Someone has a social
my iPad, if I turn the volume down, doesn't get rid of the messages. People keep asking me to eat somewhere. My bad. Go on.
It's the best. I'm sorry, audience.
Sorry, I'm such a popular guy.
What are you gonna do? I'm sorry. Correction. Akimu actually hits the mask off of Grinder's face and puts it on before Tahu loses consciousness.
I've got to say, I'm pretty
Yes?
sure that Akimu only smacked the mask off his face and didn't actually hit him in the head. Would that be a fair assumption?
Sure, okay.
I guess.
Semantics,
Because
but yeah,
as soon
okay.
as the mask
Semantics.
flies off, the Skull Grinder crumples. It's like, that's it. All right, well, I'm out. But he didn't have the mask on before, and he was functioning fine.
I don't understand how the masks work. They don't make any sense.
I mean, did
Maybe-
why
Why
is Skull Grinder
Did they
powerless?
He had too much
Take
power.
off my mask and then
Maybe
crumple?
Maybe he
Okay,
ate
no.
too much power, and then they took it off, and then the power rush was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a good. He's
Maybe it's
suffering
like
power
caffeine.
withdrawal.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
He's just
like
like,
when you take steroids for like
and
8
then he's
months,
like,
and then you can't get it because your dealer won't supply it to you anymore.
Yeah.
And then you have to go find your dealer in like the middle of nowhere, and he's like, I'm sorry, man, the feds are on to me. And you're like, I need these steroids, man. He's like, your career as a track star is
There you
over.
go.
You're
So
gonna
are
kill
you
yourself.
telling
From this
me
day
that,
on,
like,
Skull Grinder was a drug addict.
It's like,
masks are drugs. Children do mask. Okay.
Maybe that's what's going on with Makuta. He's just a mask He's a mask drug addict now.
But,
He's
like-
got to get his fix.
Yeah,
Which
like,
it still doesn't make any sense that he would
when
destroy the mask. If that
when
was
you
the
get
case,
that
but
when you get that ultimate power, man, you can't do anything else but
don't do
It's like,
cocaine, kids.
once you go through that
Don't
ultimate
do
power, you'll
mask.
never want to go back.
not even once.
Nope. And now Skull Grinder's in rehab.
Not even
He's in power rehab. He's like,
The
it's
mask
okay
of
to be
ultimate power.
powerless.
like me,
Not
look
even
at what
once.
happened to me.
Instead of dare, it's dare.
Nice try.
Okay, Var.
Anyways.
So they beat Skull Grinder.
You're about as funny as Viper right now, Bar.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was terrible. Go on.
She's gonna
Oh
cry.
yeah, that was an insult, wasn't it? Anyway, so they beat and
Get back. God, we're losing it. Go back. All right.
Are you
dial it back.
Kai, are you ODing on power?
Stop talking about this. Anyway, they wake up. I mean, the chapter's basically over. There's not much else to say. They wake up. Akimu's like, "Yay, you guys are brave," or whatever. And they're like, "Evil is not yet defeated." And Akimu's like, "Yeah, cool. You do duty and destiny. Let's save the island."
Pahatu's like, there's still evil, and it's like, he's probably freaking lost because you didn't check on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
double
one
tap
thing to
him.
really take out of this chapter that I didn't really mention was, I think, the biggest detail here. And I'm not sure if it's like it's just something that they kind of threw away, like a throwaway line, or if it actually is like a hint towards something, was when the Toa asked Akimu about Makuta, the status of Makuta. And Akimu says he's not sure if Makuta has physically risen, such as he, but that
gotten up,
his
he's like,
power, his evil
"Hey."
power, is definitely lingering. And so that can mean a multitude of things. That could mean Makuta is still unconscious, and his evil presence is what is doing everything.
It's like
it could be the Mask
sleepwalking.
of Ultimate Power is actually its own evil entity and doing things. Or Makuta has just physically risen.
See, that makes sense because when Makuta put the mask on, he completely lost control.
I think that makes
Okay.
sense too, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So maybe Makuta was just this like overly jealous like brother at one point. He just
Yeah.
wanted to be like better than his brothers, so he made this mask.
And if you watch my
and the
BioNICLE
mask
Autopsy,
is,
they had a
like-
whole thing about that.
The mask
Really,
like
Mark?
tempts
Plug.
him. The mask like tempts him. He's like, "Come on, put me on. You'll have all this power." He puts it on. And you can't take it. And
So it's
then
like the
takes
One
over his
Ring,
body.
basically. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
I would like to see, like, I hope they do more stuff with Makuta as time goes on. Because I feel like there's a lot of potential with Makuta, the G2.
Makuta's Guide to Akoto.
Like, you know, as him as a jealous brother and being corrupted and lots. They can really do a lot of that. Hopefully they do a lot of that.
I feel like Makuta has the most story out of everybody. At least he felt jealous at one point. Like all the other the Toa just kind of like, yeah, let's just do stuff, and we may or not even existed before this point. And Hakimu's just like, I'm the perfect person that everyone wants to be, but yeah,
Well, his masks weren't
Makuta's got that
nice.
story. He's got like a redemption sort of thing going on
Right.
for him. Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was probably the most important thing to take from this chapter. Other than that, it's kind of straightforward. The Toa save Akimu, beat Grinder, and that's basically the end. Kind of your typical ending, I guess.
Yeah, typical happy ending, no cliffhangers. It's just
Yeah, things got wrapped up kind of
well,
quickly
It's
too.
sort of a
It didn't feel like
cliffhanger,
they.
but not really.
Not really. Yeah, it's not really much of a cliffhanger. It was more like, oh yeah, they're still evil, obviously.
There's still stuff to be done.
I mean, this is the
It's
first year.
self-contained enough to be its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The ending there was an ending for the story that was set in this book.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess we can go around with our round table thing here, and get everyone's individual thoughts. Let's see. I started with Viper last week. Let's start with Kahi.
Okay.
Because I need to think first.
Okay, I'll just talk really long so that you can think really hard. It was alright. I think we've said this before, and it's been for the last couple chapters. The best part of this book is at the beginning, where there's more creative freedom, and then the later part of the book, because it's confined to something that we've already seen before, it's not as new, it's not as entertaining. I would like to see what our reactions would be like if this book was released at the beginning of the year, and then we got the animations later. I'd like to see what we would think about it then. For the most part, our reactions have mostly been, it follows with the animations. And you can really, I think here it's where you see it the most, because Skull Grinder versus Ikimu and the Toa is not that big of a payoff if you read this book and you haven't watched the animations. There's a lot of build up towards Makuta, towards Skull Grinder, towards getting the Masqueration, and that's already completed. And the end battle is not as, dramatic as
Yeah.
I feel it could be. It feels really anticlimactic for me. He beats all the Toa, but Ikimu manages to get his hammer, and in basically one strike, Skull Grinder's down, and then that's it. So,
Basically.
I'm really looking forward to the original story coming later. I feel with the more creative freedom given there, hopefully, I don't know if it's based off something that comes out in every year, but I hope with more creative freedom, that book will just be, I'll just breathe more. It'll be, more of its own thing.
Yeah.
Again, I like 2015 story in terms of the animations. I like the animations a lot. I just wish the book wasn't retelling them because it loses a lot in the process. And I think this chapter exemplifies it more than anything else. From a book perspective, if I'm just reading this book, the ending doesn't have a good payoff. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. LJ, let's go with you.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. I was moving
His
in my chair.
computer
and the
crashed.
squeakiness took you out. You were real quiet.
You're too
Okay.
funny, Kahi.
I delight in your pain, Viper.
Yeah, but no, as far as this chapter is concerned, definitely one of the shorter ones, and that shows. It also has a lot of the issues that the earlier chapters had, specifically he calls himself Skull Grinder. Really? Does he ever? I mean, the only one that has called him that is you. That and Kolta is never mentioned in this book. He is never called Kulta, ever. Which is
poor
really
guy.
jarring, because they give names to all the protectors, but not this guy who we know has a name.
Poor guy.
Well, we do know that the author had to fight for those names. So possibly he fought for the protector names, and then they give the Skullgrinder name afterwards. He was like, oh, I already wrote the book, so...
Maybe.
Sorry.
But it also had a lot of other issues, of course, like we discussed why he has the mask and why he puts it on and why this, that, and the other thing. So those are issues. Obviously, like I said earlier, the chapter's really short. It still has a lot of the same issues. It's not special. And like Kahi said, it doesn't have a great payoff either. So, it's just kind of... I would argue it's the weakest of the chapters. It goes by so quick. Like Var said, the Skull Basher fight was so fast. It was not interesting whatsoever. And honestly, to a degree, the Skull Grinder fight wasn't interesting in the same vein. However, that is another point that you made, Var, an interesting one, that all the Toa, they kind of... It's a feeling of despair. And... I know this has happened a few times in Generation 1 Bionicle, but this is the first year of Gen 2, and the Toa immediately, their first big fight, and they lose. If it wasn't for Akimu, they'd be toast right now. That is a very interesting concept.
Just imagine when they get to Gen 206.
Don't you start. But as far as the overall book is concerned, I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I'm glad that we got to see more of Okoto. I'm glad that we got to see more of Generation 2. We got to be a little bit more accustomed to the characters. We get to know more about the Protectors. And I was a little bit disappointed with the latter half, because it's rather short and there's not much going on. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Alright. Viper?
I think I can agree with everyone who's spoken so far that this chapter kind of sucks. Like, I was really...
Alright.
Like,
Go
obviously, I'm just overreacting as usual, but it was disappointing to me. Like, I do really like, you know, Skull Grinder and like Akimu. I like the part in the animation, but it's like it just does not work if you know what's going to happen. Like, that's the whole point of like that's what brings tension to a fight, is that you don't know what's going to happen, and obviously you're going to take it out anyway. You're going to be less tense in a kid's, you know, story, because you know that the good guys will prevail, but still it's like you know exactly every move to the character, and I just think that, you know, change it from animation to book doesn't really work, especially when it's a fight, because you know what's going to happen, so it becomes a drag to read. And I'm sad that they didn't show Coulter, you know, talk about Coulter, and then they did the whole Skull Slicer thing. They call it Skull Slicer or Skull Grinder, and it's basically just makes them not as individuals, but just like a group of villains that don't mean anything other than their name is Skull Grinder. That's basically it, and I don't like that in, you know, stories. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the 06 books, and you know, it's just I just wish that they would, you know, focus a lot more on the characters instead of just trying to transcript all this like animation that we've all seen before. And it's basically just me, you know, bashing the nail on the head over and over again every time I do a chapter. But that's what I feel about the book. It just kind of like does the same thing in the animations, which honestly probably isn't the writer's fault, probably was told to do that. So I just hope in the next book that that will change and that the universe will kind of open up a bit, because that's what was good about, you know, Legacy of Evil and stuff like that. So they brung a lot more to the universe. Wow, I must have spoke as long as Kahi did.
I think you spoke longer, actually.
Wow, way to hog time.
Nah, you're fine.
This
Are you
is
finished?
not Viper's Day.
Yeah, I'm done now. I've
Okay.
done ranting.
No, I have
That's
to agree
cool.
with you a lot.
I'm with you.
Overall, yeah, the book is a little disappointment in that regard, because it does feel like the villains are basically just throwaway characters.
I really
which they are.
liked Chapter 1 and Chapter 2.
Yeah,
because
Chapter 1 and
they
Chapter 2
really-
are great because they actually did things. They built
Even
up
though
things
nothing
that we didn't
really
know.
conclusive happened, nothing big happened, it was just like it felt more big because it was personal. Like, you had personal, like, they had friendships. The characters had friendships, and whenever, like, you know, Bing Zack was in trouble or something like that, it's like it brought it closer into the story. Whereas it feels like you are a reader.
Actual interactions with people.
Yeah, you feel like you are a reader in the other chapters because you're basically behind this wall of just not knowing anything and not knowing who these people are. You're just basically... It's like when you watch a bunch of strangers, like, fighting outside, and you're just like, this means really nothing to me, but I'll just watch it anyway.
Oh, I always listen.
I always watch people.
If you're yelling, I'm like, all right, well, obviously you don't care enough about keeping this
you're gonna
private.
start a scene. I'll watch your scene.
Yeah, like you're starting a scene. All right, hey, listen. You know, I'm not going to eavesdrop in your conversation, but
All right, start the popcorn. We gotta
Yeah,
move.
Exactly.
it's that same
it
premise.
happens in my apartment building
Yeah.
all the time. But yeah, I get you.
But it is unfortunate because the villains feel like they're throwaway villains. They're just here to be villains. They've got no other character outside of that, which is a shame. It would be nice to actually, like, we've got a year, right? We've got a whole year where we can have a story. So give us like 2 books. Give us 2 books. That'd be enough to at least give us some kind of character for the villains, other than his name is Skull Grinder. You know.
Yeah.
And it does feel like the book basically leads up to nothing. Like nothing really happens. The Toa arrive, and it seems like the whole point of the Toa being called down was because the island was in like peril or whatever. That, I mean, isn't really resolved. The Toa are here, and it seems like the Skull Spider's plot was basically dropped like halfway through the book. So the whole point of bringing the Toa here, completely forgotten. Like, I know finding Akimu was a big thing, but like that wasn't the reason they were brought here. Like, you gotta remember that, right? Because the Protectors have been living on the island without Akimu for a long time now. They weren't brought here to revive Akimu, so it's just like, I don't know, that plot thread was kind of brought in randomly after they got their mask.
I mean, it's kind of a shame too, because you can see like just glints of just amazingness in the book, but it's just like a lot of it is just kind of like covered over by this transcript, and it kind of sucks because people are gonna judge that the author on like what's been written, and it may not have been his choice to write a transcript. But from what I've seen of like the creative side of the book, I really liked it, and it's just a shame that you're restricted that much when you're writing a book.
Yeah. And then, it all just comes down to the end fight where they fight Grinder, and it's just... I gotta agree with Kahi and Viper and basically everyone here. It's not a very satisfying ending, especially since we did already see it. Because if you watch the animations, I actually remember watching that episode and being like, "Whoa!" When Grinder does that one attack, that just wipes out all the Toa. That was surprising. I wasn't expecting that. That was cool. That was a very, very cool moment. That was cool when I watched it, but now that I've seen it, reading it isn't really much of an impact, and I would have preferred had I gotten that in the book rather than the animation. So, I don't know. Or at least the book had done something different. It would have been nice to have, I don't know, just had something else here.
Even if it was like in the perspective of the Protectors, like they did in other years of Bionicle in Gen 1, like they had the books were on a certain group of characters, like the Matoran, and then the comics would be like the Toa or something like that. And then I know for the books, half of the books were like the Matoran, and then the other was like the Toa. So I think it would have been...
We don't know yet. The graphic novels have still yet to come out. There's another book that's yet to come out. The Netflix show has yet to come out. There's a lot of media that has yet to come out about Bionicle. So I get what you're saying. I just say that like it's kind of close to call that now. We've only had the animations and the book, which is basically the animations but in text form. So let's hold off and wait until we get to the graphic novels and the Netflix show, and then we can say,
right, But judging from the merits of this book alone, it's definitely lacking. There needs to be a bit more here. It would have been nice if we got more look at Akoto itself, because I feel like that was the one thing the book could have done that hasn't been touched upon. That would have been more interesting. So those first few chapters were definitely the best of the book. Ending chapter, kind of disappointing. Not really. Didn't really build up to anything. Obviously, you're right. We do have more stuff coming, but I can't really say that this book was worth the time reading it.
Yeah,
the first half worth it, but I'm not really sure it's worth sticking around. For the whole thing. With that said, the book is really short, really quick read,
and it's pretty cheap.
It's pretty cheap
digitally, so because print's dead.
if I purchased this book and I read it, I already watched the anime. Just imagine, like, I'm still a massive Bionicle fan. I'm a kid and I've watched all the animations. I would be kind of disappointed by reading that.
I would be too.
Because I'd love the first half, and then it would just kind of go back into what I've seen before. And I think, obviously we're not sure what, the agenda of the book was, so can't really judge on whether that's a good thing.
I mean, obviously the book is aimed at children, and we are, clearly not children.
We are not children.
But with that
kids
said,
have some low standards, so you can kind of get away with a lot.
It's true, but with that said, I'm not for dumbing things down just for the sake
children.
of kids, because kids are able to,
Kids
understand
can be
things.
clever. People keep
Right.
feeding them stupid things, so it's
If you feed them stupid things, they're going to
they
be
will be
stupid.
stupid.
Exactly.
And all the stuff that isn't dumbed down is really popular.
Exactly.
If you see,
So it's just
I've yet to, what's like the most? Can you name a complicated kid show that isn't like doesn't have some sort of fandom? Like, can you name someone that was just like, well, this is just too complicated for kids, and it's not hitting with anybody, and it's just not working?
not really. I mean, maybe like Ben 10 or Generator Rex, but those were still popular.
No, there's
Yeah.
still. I mean, like
And they
any
weren't really, like,
unpopular
complicated.
shows, right? Yeah, unpopular, complicated shows. Like, can you think of one in the last? I mean, I
Maybe
guess
SpongeBob?
it was unpopular, so we might not.
No,
Right.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is not complicated.
That's not a complicated
Probably
show.
the opposite
Oh,
of
sorry, I
complicated.
thought you meant not complicated.
No, we were talking about like
Okay.
a show that the creators actually put a lot of work into making, with a story that was complicated,
I've got to
had
think back
characters.
to Jetix days.
Right. Like a
Yeah,
good
it's
show.
but
amazing.
for whatever reason, just did not take off.
I guess Young Justice was kind of like that, but that's Cartoon Network's fault for cutting it. I feel like it was a
Yeah,
huge.
and I mean, you
fan
could probably
base
argue
for
that Legend
show.
of Korra was kind of like that too.
What
But
about-
that a big online presence.
Huge
so.
online presence.
The only one I can think of is like the Spider-Man ones, but they're not.
No,
really
Spider-Man
that
took off.
complicated.
Spider-Man was great. There was Spectacular Spider-Man.
Like
Yeah,
I mean, like the
Spectacular
one in
took
the
off.
like the 90s, but I'm sure it was still.
Oh, I
90s
love
took
the
90s
90s.
Spider-Man
I love
took
these
off.
ones.
Also very
90s
popular.
X-Men, really popular.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I can't really think of a complicated show that just did bad.
I guess we can't remember it because it wasn't popular, so that might.
That's
be
true.
It.
Yeah,
But
that's also true.
in the
Like
same
if we could
vein-
remember it, then obviously we knew about
Yeah,
it. so.
Right.
if we can remember it, it must have had some sort of effect on us. Like it's
Right.
it's like Bionicle. It's like a lot of people. I know I would be a lot different as a person if I didn't know what Bionicle was. So it's like it's a good thing if you remember it because it was something. If you remembered it, whether it was good or bad. So, if it was complicated but you don't remember it, then it obviously wasn't entertaining enough for someone of your age. Yeah.
Well, I think that was pretty good wrap up of this book and how we all felt about it. So with that said, I think we basically finished Island of Lost Mask, everybody. So I would like to thank you, audience, for sticking around with us, and hopefully you got something out of this discussion. And obviously, if we didn't bring up something that you think is a valid point, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And we will probably be doing this with other books. I definitely want to do this with G1 books. I think that'll be fun.
Yes.
I think so.
And
I would love
we'll
to do
obviously
that.
do it with more of G2 books, but we'll see. We might need to streamline this process a little bit so that we don't
Make
have
sure-
any
yeah.
technical difficulties. But
Yeah.
hopefully we'll figure it out. This is kind of a test run, but
I-
it seemed like it was pretty successful for the most part. Everyone seems to like it. So
I may or may not
Yeah.
be able to do next time with book club because
Especially-
that's probably one of the main problems that I've been having.
Especially our
We'll see.
vessel viewer base. Really like these. Wonder
yeah,
why.
yeah.
Yeah,
I-
I think
I
it
wonder
really
why.
does. It does.
I don't know. Vessel's pretty great. Just check it out if you haven't checked it out already. You should,
Yeah, if you wanna see
go
our
to
beautiful
vessel.com
faces.
/TTV channel. Check out
If you
book
wanna
club. You
see our
might find some
faces.
surprises like webcams, faces, beautiful faces.
You wanna
except
see our
my
terrible
face
hair
is not
days.
beautiful today.
If
Me
you want
bad-
to
Yeah,
see
I
us
need a
pull
shave
faces
bad.
at
Yeah,
the
like
camera,
I need to
I
shave.
did
My
the
hair is
today,
like-
and I got a bunch
I
of
look like a
red
freaking
my
hobo
hair.
today.
I don't know. I'm like I have a cold, and I didn't realize like until I was recording webcam. I'm like, oh no, I have to. Oh man, yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, LJ just takes off his mask and has like a massive like Gordon's alive beard.
No, it's okay. I got a comb.
Yeah, he's like a Jack Patillo beard. It's just like
It's like
all the way down.
I look like I'm
Or a
from Duck
Gavin
Dynasty.
Freebeard. Have you seen Gavin's beard recently? Man,
Oh, Gavin's beard. Yeah, what's going on?
Where
Gavin?
did that come from?
Where
Where did that-
Wait, no, hang on, that's taken.
Yeah,
The RT
welcome
podcast
to TTV
podcast where we
Talks
talk about the
Rooster
RT
Teeth.
podcast. All right, well, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching once again. Be sure to subscribe to us on Vessel or YouTube. Vessel helps us out a lot, though. If you don't want to do that, then join the message boards. Talk about how much you hate us on the message boards at board.tvpodcast.com. Buy a shirt at store.tvpodcast.com. And stay frosty. Keep being awesome.
Stay frosty. Wow.
Yeah, stay frosty. I added something there.
Needs you.
Nice.
This has been Var.
This has been LJ.
This has been Kahi.
This will always end. This will always be Viper. That failed so badly.
Good job.
You tried.
You tried.
Like, man, I
Gold
want to be
star.
You tried to be.
but I
Gold
don't
star.
want to be too unique.
Just end it. Don't, I'm done. Goodbye. Goodbye.
All right, we're going. I'm going.
That's
We're
a
go-
wrap,
I'm gonna be going.
folks. Thanks for watching.
All right,
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. I'm waving.